Well, we think about being online and being very public while we're out there as we're showing everybody our pictures and talking about our vacations and doing all those great things. Well, today is January 28th, and today is known as Data Privacy Day. How to be a little more private and having people see what you want and not seeing what you don't want and keeping track of all those things. The person that can do it for us is Coode here, a binary tattoo. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Happy Data Privacy Day.
Happy Data Privacy Day.
And this is something that you're talking about all the time.
Yes.
Binary tattoo and keeping us safe online, because I think we've gotten to a place where all of this technology is so commonplace for us, we forget.
We forget, and so this day is actually, it's international. It was created in the States, but it was intended to bring awareness to it. So are we sharing all this information all the time? Yes. Let's just take one day to remind people what that information is and how to keep it safe.
Well, and I loved what you said on your website. One of the stats that you gave, your fun facts, was only 36% of people believe their private information is secure online. Do you? You said you don't.
I don't.
But you still use it.
I do,
use it anyway.
I use credit cards in stores too, and there's a chance someone could take my number, right? Like every time you do something, there's an inherent risk. My phone number's in the telephone book. Like there's always a risk. But is there value in that risk? Are you putting out information in exchange for something? Does Amazon have my information in exchange for the ability for me to order things directly to my home? That's worth it to me. Okay. So you just have to evaluate whether or not giving away that information is worth whatever value you get from it.
And that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about today. It's that, we're online, we're browsing, and that just being safer, some tips to keep us safer in that risk.
In browsing. So we often talk about, I've certainly on the show, you and I have talked a lot about, what pictures are you putting out there? What are you actually saying? What are you doing? And that's a really easy thing to be aware of. But people forget that the silent stuff they do online, the browsing and the shopping and all those things, also tracked. So if you are using a regular browser, that browser knows every website you've been to, it knows which ones you have accounts on, and it knows what shopping you're doing.
And we think of it as a convenience because you just go on, remember this, remember this for me, and it's easier for us.
Yeah, and even like Amazon again as an example, you accidentally close the tab and you're like, oh, and then you open it again and there's your shopping cart full of stuff. And you're like, thank goodness. Well, that's cookies. So there are files that run on your browser, and the browser keeps track of a whole ton of things that you do on that website. And so those cookies again are keeping all your information. The question is the cookie keeping and sharing information you want it to, or are there cookies on some of these websites that are sharing the location of your computer, like the city that you're trying to contact it from, your shopping history? Do you want that saved and shared?
And how do you know if it's tracking all of those other things?
So by default, all of them will track cookies.
Okay.
There are settings on every browser. So if you go into your browser and you go into settings, if you can't find it, just Google like Chrome or Safari, or whatever you're using, just like Chrome cookies or Safari cookies. You can turn them off by website. You can turn them off altogether. You can keep them on altogether. But what you have to be aware of is if you log into a website and you don't log out again, the cookie is open. So if I log into Facebook and I close my browser, the cookie still exists. If I log out of Facebook, the cookie goes.
Okay. So then that cookie is staying there for everything
for
else
everyone
that you're
else.
doing. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So you go to TripAdvisor, and TripAdvisor says, here are 25 of your Facebook friends that also went to the Caribbean and enjoyed themselves. And you're like, how do you know that? Because your Facebook cookie is open.
Okay.
And so it knows that you have been there. And if your friend list is public, it knows who they are. And if you keep your friend list private, but your friend has a public friend list, it knows you're part of their list, and it will show it to you.
So it just keeps jumping on and on and on and through all of it. Oh,
so
wow.
Half your information you give to the web, and half your information other people are giving on your behalf. Right? Okay. So there are websites that know who your friends are because your friends have told those websites that you're friends with them. Okay. So there's cookie control. So that's one thing. You just, again, be aware. Do you like those cookies? Do you like it to remember what you bought last time? Great. If you don't like them, search the cookie control and turn it all off.
Okay. Great advice. You say something, you're supposed to avoid single sign-ons.
Single sign-ons.
What does that mean?
So not necessarily avoid them. That is when you use your social identities, so your Google, your Facebook, your Twitter, anything else, to sign on to another service. So in order
Okay.
to avoid creating a new account and a new password, which is a real pain, you can sign into this service using Twitter. You can sign into this service using Facebook. So if you're on a newspaper site, you want to make a comment, it says sign in using Facebook. When you do that, you are giving all your information from that service over to the new service. So if I sign on using Facebook, it's going to pop up and say, are we allowed to post on your behalf? Are we allowed to take your friend list? Are we allowed to do all this stuff? Some of it is automatic. It is automatically going to know my gender, my age, the city I live in, and a bunch of little information. And then if I have public things again like friends list, it's automatically taking all that information from me. So if it's a trusted site, like if it's the Globe and Mail and you're like, I'm pretty sure they've got their, their T's crossed and their I's dotted, I'm okay, I'm going to use Facebook to sign in for this. But if it's a random website and you're just giving them your Facebook ID, you're also giving them access to all your Facebook information.
Okay, and we've got 1 more minute left. So
Yes.
what's the next key thing that we need
The
to
next
remember?
key one, so we have private browsing. Private browsing is probably the next most important one. You can browse incognito. And so when you are browsing, along with cookies, it keeps track of every website you've been to, the files you've downloaded, and the things you've done there. If you are using a public computer, which a lot of people do now, in a library, wherever it is, you want to use incognito browsing.
Incognito browsing.
Yeah.
That's what we want to watch.
Yeah, and look in the browser.
Okay.
And binarytattoo.com, lots more information.
Lots more information there, lots more information on your YouTube channel, lots
Yes.
of information out there that we all need. Data Privacy Day and 365 other days
Yes.
of the year, too. Thanks so much for joining
You're
us.
welcome.
All right, more daytime still to come. Stay with us.